Hello, hello. We're live. Get adjusted here. How's my audio, everybody? I'm sure it sounds okay. I've talked with the guest already, and he says it sounds all right. So we're going to get started here. So hello, and thank you for everybody who's coming and watching. I'm sure there's a few of yous in now. Just give me one sec here. I got to get some stuff set up here. One sec. Okay, you're good. And okay, perfect. So I just made you a moderator, Jason, redfish, bluefish. I'm sure you don't mind. I'd appreciate the help. So yeah, everybody, welcome. People are watching right now, people who are going to watch the replay later. We have a cool guest for you tonight. Our guest tonight is, I honestly don't know him that well, but he's fairly new to YouTube, and I've seen some of his videos and some of his live streams, and he seems to know what he's talking about with his shrimp. So I think we should listen to this fellow. His name's Brian, and yeah, he's going to have a bit of a shrimp talk with us. We're just going to have basically a shrimp conversation, and you guys are going to eavesdrop on us, and we're going to look at the comments once in a while. Or if the moderators see a good question that comes up for us, by all means, throw it up on the screen, please. So other than I have one last thing to say is thank you for all the support we've been getting lately. Our subscriber change has jumped up quite well, so let's keep it going. It's on the right path to where the goals I want to be are. So thank you for your support, and if you're watching this stream and you like what you're seeing, please don't hesitate to hit the subscribe button. So without further ado, help me welcome Brian.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, how Brian. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Like I was saying to everybody, I'm sure you were listening in. Yeah, I've seen some of your shrimp stuff, and some of it looks really interesting. I've seen you have a lot of different kind of shrimp than I have, so that's why I'm even more interested to speak to you about this, to gain my knowledge on shrimp, how you do things differently than I do, some tricks I might be able to pick up. Maybe you'll pick up a trick from me. Maybe our viewers will pick up some tricks. So I don't know if you're aware, but I started doing these Monday night live streams essentially because a lot of our aquarium clubs are not meeting anymore due to what's going on right now.
All right.
And I thought, well, wouldn't it be nice to at least bring an interactive conversation to everybody who might be missing out on that, and they want to further their knowledge on fish keeping. So essentially, that's why I did it, and I bring people on like yourself and other guests I've had to show us different perspectives of fish keeping. So thank you again for coming on.
Yeah, no problem.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I was in the fish hobby ever since I was little. First fish tank, goldfish, all that stuff with the parents, when you're little, and then you grow up, you get out of it, then you get back into it when you're a teenager, then you get out of it, get a job, and then you get back into it again, but what got us back into it this time was we took our son to the festival, and of course he won a goldfish and the colored water.
Or you talk like a fall fair?
Yeah, where they throw like the ping pong balls or something. Everyone's a winner. But so him and his buddies all won it, but his was the only one that lived. So it lived like a month, and then it died. And then, of course, I kind of felt bad. But then I was like, oh, well, this is my way to get back into it. Mm-hmm. I can use this as an excuse to do my fish tanks again. So I got into the fish again, and, I've always had luck with breeding fish, all types of fish that I had when I was younger and stuff. So I started breeding fish again. Then I got into the discus because just like things that look like they're airbrushed, like they're painted, and it's expensive, So I got into the discus when it was a big boom. I started buying those. I started breeding those, and then it crashed. No one wanted discus. I had all these discus. I didn't care, but it's like I have all this setup, tanks, this and that to breed them, and no one wants to, no one's buying discus anymore. So I found homes for them all, squeezed out of that, and I thought, well, maybe I could do like nano fish or something. I like guppies. We have guppies upstairs, but I'm not a huge guppy person, because I don't want to take like this real expensive pair and breed them and just have a certain. I'm like a.
You're not trying to build a guppy. You just enjoy
Right.
keeping guppies.
I like the mess of guppies, just how it comes out like you squirt paint all over a piece of wood, So I wanted to get into something, and a friend of mine said, well, hey, you want to get into shrimp? And I was like, the heck do I want to get into those things for? And he showed them to me, some cherries, and that was it. My first 10 died. Just chuck them in the tank thinking that they're Superman. And so like 2 weeks later, he brought me 10 more, and that's it. Now I'm 42 tanks into it. I don't want to say it's not thousands of dollars, but when you're a breeder and you breed shrimp, I have to buy my shrimp at full price and then I breed those. So it's like, all your starting stock costs a lot of money. I mean, it's the same thing as fish or anything else you do. So
if you have 42 shrimp tanks that are packed with shrimp, you have thousands of dollars worth of shrimp.
Oh, well, yeah, for sure. Yeah, but it took me a minute to get there.
Yeah.
But, hey, I'm no one special. I take 3 tanks. Yeah, I scrub them up. I mean, they don't, it all looks good. They're all the same tanks. They're all the same size lip. I don't intermingle tanks. It doesn't look good, And plus, I run the store out of my home. So if people want to come here and shop, they come here and shop, so I want that store feeling when they come into my home. I don't want them to come into my home and go, oh, wow, this is in a basement. I want to come in and go, oh, wow, this is a store within your home. So, then I just started to build up from there, from the cheapest of the shrimp, the cherries, in which I got rid of the garbagey cherries because I don't believe that selling anything to somebody should be trashy. It shouldn't be the lowest quality. Just because it's a cherry doesn't mean it has to be the crappiest thing that they make. So I got rid of those, got higher qualities. Now all the shrimp I keep are really good really high genes and really big qualities, and they breed and all that good stuff. So
very good, very good.
Yep.
So how long you been doing the little shrimp business going on in your house?
Well, the business, I got into doing the shrimp like 2.5 years ago, and I've been doing the business for about 1.5 years now. I need a little time to get things rolling, and it doesn't matter how much I know about fish. I mean, I have a 120-gallon over there. I got tanks upstairs. I got tanks everywhere, but it doesn't matter how much you know about fish. You have to know about crustaceans and how they live, what they eat, how much you feed them, and that's the hardest part is feeding. It's we all like to see our fish eat, so you throw it in there, they come out and go crazy. Well, you can't do it with shrimp because they don't come over like fish, and you got to figure their stomachs are in their heads. So the littlest ittiest bit of food is what fills them up, and you think there's a lot you got to tweak in there.
So what do you mainly keep, Caradina or Neos?
Both. What I tried to do is I try to give everything to a consumer that they would because nowhere over here can you get the amount, the quantity that I have. If you go into a pet store here, they'll have like they'll have like yellows, oranges, maybe some blues.
And we don't even get that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we have like at least where I live, I have to travel about an hour and a half driving at 120 kilometers an hour
Oh yeah, no, I just go down the
to get
street
there.
a mile.
Yeah, no, I have to go to Toronto
Oh
to
yeah,
do
no,
that.
no, no. It's over here. I have a store that actually set up. He built a whole area on the end cap. On the end of
Okay.
one of his rows, he put Aquarium makes those 5 gallon, the long 5 gallon longs, and he sells them. So to get more business, he wanted to do the shrimp, and he did the shrimp, and now he just packs those tanks, and everybody
Oh,
buys the tanks. They buy the shrimp. They love those little setups. So
very good,
yeah,
very good. I have both as well. I have cherries and I have red Rileys. Oh, you've gone dark.
nope.
There you go.
But everything's on a timer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all my rooms. So I mean, my tanks back there, those are fluvals, but these are all the Aqueon uh, Opta Bright Maxes. So they're the brightest light, and so they all go off, and then they start to dim down after 9 o'clock. So I got to click
Okay.
them back up again. So
You're already getting a pile of questions.
oh
We should,
well,
we
shoot,
should
I can't
probably
see them over here. Oh wait, can I turn
we
them?
should probably get started on
Oh yeah,
some.
yeah, yeah.
some
I got questions over
Here,
here.
I'll put them up on the screen for you.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there is any hardy Neo variety of shrimp to do summer tubbing. Night lows are 60 to 65. Any shrimp. Any shrimp.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
60, 65 is my shrimp in the wintertime. I don't insulate my walls. So that's the look. I like that look. The industrial. I run all the electrical. I do everything, but that's the look I like. And I don't want to be putting all that stuff on my walls. So, I get shrimp that show up here at 55, 58 degrees, and they're just fine, but it just slows them down. They're sluggish, but it extends their life.
Yeah. I keep mine at about 68.
Yeah.
That's what my basement, the water in my basement pretty much stays at year round. Yeah, 68 they do fine. So I would think if the evenings got down to 60, 60,
Oh, yeah.
65, they will do just fine. And I guess this is one thing I have to be careful not to give shit advice, because the shit advice part of that is I didn't ask how big the tub was. I don't know
Right.
how big the tub was. If it's a 5-gallon tub, this isn't going to work.
Right.
But if it's like a 40-gallon tub or a 50-gallon tub, you'll be just fine. So,
Yeah. It
yeah.
helps if you put it like on, if you have it outside, if you put it shading on dirt. Try not to, if it's plastic or something, just put it right on the ground, because the coolness will keep the bottom of the tub nice and cool. If you have it up, then the warm air will circulate that tub.
And
But if you
bake
put it
it.
on the ground, the bottom, they could stay down there like in the hot times, and then come up and dangle from any floating plants you have at night in the warmer area.
Ah, very good advice. So I hope that answered your question. A lot of people saying hello, and hello to everybody who's saying hello. Here's a question from my friend Jason. Brian, many people claim that with Caridina shrimp, don't even consider putting them into a tank that isn't at least 6 months cycled and seasoned. Myth, truth, or shades of gray in between?
Yeah, it's real gray. It it the best way to do it, to get around it, is it's kind of like just cycling a fish tank. And it's something that you got, no matter what it is, you got to take your time, and you have to be mindful of what you do. So if you're gonna do it and you want to do it at a quicker pace, you can get stability, anything that will help grow bacteria. But if you put dirty filters in there, I mean, put them in there. Don't put them in there and run them. Like dirty sponge filters that you have extra. Like all my tanks, I hide a sponge filter behind the big, huge piles of washer tank and stuff. And everybody's like, wow, that looks so cool. And then I'll go to set up another tank and I'll stick it where they're like, where do you get that? I'm like, out of those tanks over there. But if you put dirty sponges in there and then squeeze a bunch of bacteria in there, you can do it within 24 hours. The tank will be as dark as can be the next day. If you have good flow going through your filter, sponge filters, it'll all be sucked up to the outside of that sponge filter, and that bacteria is just going to sit there and grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And then you have the sponge filters that are completely saturated with it. So then I have bags of the stones, like in a hob filter. You put it back there, it builds a bacteria on it. I pull those out and I keep those in tanks too.
Are you talking like the ammonia chips?
No, just like
the white ammonia chips, or
no, the white rocks. Like some are balls and some are
smooth, some are ceramic.
You put them in the white bags,
yeah,
and then you put it in a hob filter, and it helps. It's the mechanical part of it, or the bacteria part. And so that's all I do is I put all this stuff in there and then take plants out of another tank that are covered with bacteria and put it all in there. All you have to do is put all this stuff that has bacteria in there and kind of try to stay on top of it. So leave a filter in there for a week, pull it out, put another dirty one in. And then by the time your 4 months is there, your tank's covered in algae, all the shrimp lived, and, everything's great. But yeah, you can't just throw them in. If you take your time and do it within a couple days, I mean, I can put shrimp in a tank in literally a couple days with my live bacteria that I use. I sell this live bacteria. It's this stuff. It's proven, and I've tried it. And with 4 days, I could put shrimp in there and never ever put anything in the tank again. And it's just incredible stuff. But if you leave your lights on for 24/7 and you have a substrate that creates ammonia, it'll turn the glass in the whole tank completely dark green, saturated with algae within 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's essentially what I do, minus the 24-hour light. I use like Amazonia ADA, right, and it's extremely nutrient rich.
Well, so that's what this is made to work with, ADA soil. But I have to order it. I can't go to the store and buy it. They sell Fluval, and then I use the Fluval stratum, and I use a black humate. It's kind of like what comes out of the Indian almond leaves and stuff. The black water. Yep. And I use that soil, so it doesn't build ammonia. And that's another thing, is the substrates that I use do not build ammonia, so I don't have to worry about an ammonia spike happening, and possibly stressing the shrimp out, so.
Yeah. Mine I found when I set up new tanks with Amazonia, I'll plant the tank, maybe put a few floaters in, maybe some Rotella or something, just lightly planted. I'm usually 6 to 8 weeks by the time that tank's properly cycled and I'm getting a 0 ammonia read. So I would say if you're going to do it that way, yeah, you're about, for me anyways, when I test my ammonia and everything, whether I use a seasoned sponge filter or not, I still give it 2 months.
Well, with what you're saying too, that's one thing I want to put in there too. If you're using a substrate that creates ammonia, you're probably going to want to keep an eye on it a little better, put, extra bacteria in there because it'll all combat that ammonia, so
the use of floater plants helps a lot. But it is an extremely good indicator of when your cycle is ready. Mm-hmm. When you have an actual proper cycle. I had a actual fish veterinarian on here last week, and he was saying that the speed that the beneficial bacteria grows in a fish tank is something like 15 million parts over 24 hours. And he says, comparatively to like a bacteria like E. coli, which does that in 15 minutes. So he said it's actually not as as speedy of a reproducing bacteria as others. So yeah, that's I guess what it boils down to is just cycle. Same with any other fish tank or anything. Just have a
Oh
good
yeah,
cycle, and you're
yeah.
good to go.
But the only thing I find is like the 6 month thing. If you're looking to breed, then uh, I see that a lot to where the shrimp won't really start to do anything special for you except walk around until the tank is cycled.
Yeah,
Because it's just, there's nothing there. You don't have a bunch of algae built on the glass yet, and you're putting stuff in there that's covered with bacteria and stuff like that. But still, it's not the same as while it's growing in there. Even the water would feel different for them. But I'm
yeah,
just saying that you can do it.
yeah. I think like you're definitely onto something. I only ever scrub the front viewing glass of my shrimp tanks. I leave the other three sides as
That
gross
same
as I
here.
can.
Mhm.
Just that's great food for them. Why pay
Right.
for food if you can just grow biofilm, right?
Yeah, and you can go on vacation for a few days and not have to worry about them starving. So,
Yeah. Do you use Bacter AE?
yeah, I got it right here. Yeah, I use Bacteria. Yeah,
Yeah, I do as well. I even implemented it into my fish keeping. It actually, I was just for shits and giggles. I was breeding some Odessa barbs, and I actually used the Bacter AE in the wee tiny fry rearing tank to build up bacteria for them to eat when they're really small, and it worked fantastic. So,
oh yeah,
yeah, I'm a believer in that stuff for sure.
yeah. Well, they say I've never done it because the stuff's not cheap, but they say when you're doing the shrimp tank,
No,
to sprinkle this on the bottom first, then put your substrate because it'll sit in there and it'll start to create the bacteria, and come up through the substrate. That's all fine and dandy when you're making buttloads of money a day and you got 40 some packages going out. I do. I don't know during what's going on now with the virus and stuff. I sent 2 packages out today, probably maybe about 8 packages a week. So it's not stopped, and people see that when they order from me, everything comes. You know, I mean, they actually complain a little bit because I package it so good. To keep
yeah,
everything away from everything. So yeah, they just keep on ordering.
yeah. Like with Bacter AE, I use about half of what they recommend, and I just sprinkle it on top of my water, maybe once every
Yeah,
week and a half.
I even use less than that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just a little sprinkle.
yeah.
Um, I'm just looking for your next question. Oh, we got one right here. Oh, make sure I'm there yet. Okay, caught up. People are asking a lot of questions, so we're getting behind, but that's okay. We have time.
Hey, I'm
Uh,
in no hurry.
what is the difference between the two types of shrimp? I think they're meaning neos and caridina. I'll let you take the start of this.
Just the water types. One's a hard water and one's a soft water, meaning the neocaridina, uh, depending on what's in your tap water, they like water with KH and GH, carbonate hardness and general hardness. They like a higher pH. They like stuff on the rougher side, where Caridina shrimp likes it on the smoother side. They like an RO water, or if for some reason you can get a water with no KH in it whatsoever, and then remineralize your water with that. And then, depending on the type of shrimp that you have. And here's the thing: it's what I try to tell everybody. It's as easy, if not easier, than keeping the neocaridina, because like they say, neocaridina, they get sick. Depends on where you get them from. They can come in with a bacteria. Caridina shrimp can get it too, but it's harder for them to get it. It's not as common for them to get a sick. So it's something that you can kind of put in the back of your mind that if you're taking care of your tank like you're supposed to, chances of your Caridina getting sick compared to a Neo Caridina getting sick, are lesser. Even though I never have sick ones on either side, but it just breaks down the water, the hardness and the softness. And like I said, you can. I didn't know if you guys were going to ask or anything, but like this is a commercial GH. It's just a liquid, but it's very strong and powerful. So 5 milliliters of this does a whole 5-gallon bucket to 120 TDS. So you're looking at 5 GH with just 5 milliliters of this. Now, if you go this route and you use the GH, the Salty B, this is what you'll put in.
That's exactly what I use for my Caridina.
Right. This is what I used until my friend introduced me to that. Then this is what you use if you salt your Neos, your GH and KH. That's what you use for those.
I have that as well.
Yeah. But I look at it this way. If my KH comes out of my tap high enough, but my GH is a little lower, my TDS is a little low, then all I do is put in a little spritz of this. Or just throw some GH plus in it just to lift it up a little more, just to, give them a little boost, because like I said, they like it a little rougher. They like the water harder. And
they like stability too. I guess to answer that question, it's the Caridina is like soft water, buffered soft water. They like water that stays the same all the time. If you have a lot of fluctuations, they won't appreciate that. Where Neos are much easier. I've actually had cull cherry shrimp live in my turtle tank for a really long time, and that's in a dirty turtle tank, right? And so they're a lot more hardy. But like you were saying, I don't know about your tap water. My tap water is horrible. It's almost polluted. It's like a TDS of like 420, pH of 8.2. Like I burn out RO machines.
I'm a 98 to 102, depends on the day.
So I actually use RO water and remineralization for both my Neos and my Caridina.
Okay. Yeah.
And what that does is actually keeps my water parameters exactly the same in all my tanks all the time. So that's helpful for that at least.
Yeah, but you still gotta. Do you use a TDS pen?
I sure do. Yes.
Yeah, you still gotta, because that's what I try to tell people. They're like, "Well, what's the TDS of the tank of the shrimp you're sending me?" And I'm like, "Well, let me check, because I keep my Caridina, let's say at 120, and I put 120 in there all the time. Well, the tank could be 125 or 126, because I have plants in there and you feed them. And, if you put a little plant food in there, so it fluctuates it. But if
20 or 30 TDS, 20 or 30 TDS isn't much.
Right.
So you keep your Neos at 120.
No, my Neos, I keep the Neos at 170, 180, somewhere in there. And then I keep my Caridina. It depends on what it is, but 120 to 130 in there.
Okay.
Like tigers, like my tangerine tigers, excuse me, they get up to, they're hardy. They like don't stop. And when they're most active is like 182.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Because like tangerine tigers, orange-eyed blue tigers, orange-eyed royal blue tigers, along those families, they like it a little higher.
We're gonna get to that. Save that thought. Right. I wanted to ask you about your tigers in a bit. Okay. Because you're gonna give us a good run through for your tigers. All right. Monica has one more question here. It's I have a 40-gallon planted breeder, plecos, cories, tetras, and I just added 10 cherry shrimp. How do I keep them thriving? Well, I would keep it planted real thick, because the tetras will likely go after them. The plecos and cories won't bother them though. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I agree. It's just depends on how big the plecos are, because they do eat meat. They do eat bloodworms. There's possibilities, but they won't like hunt them. They won't go after them. I always tell everybody, look, if you're going to keep something in the tank, which I do not recommend, you have to keep them fed, because it's like having an alligator in your pool or piranhas. They're going to come after you and bite you if they're hungry. But if their tummies are full, then they'll probably just swim away and be a little afraid of you. So you got
I keep young ancestress in with my shrimp just to grow them out.
Oh,
but
for sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Never
Babies.
more than an inch and a half.
Yeah.
So
I keep little rice fish and stuff in, I keep guppies in it, everything. And the guppies don't mess with them. The guppies are more into messing with each other. And
they'll pick the shrimplets off, but
having 30 at a time and you get 25 out of it, it's not that bad of a deal. Fish Tropic is in here, huh?
He is.
That's my guy right there.
That's my guy from Toronto.
Yeah, I'm saying he's a good guy.
Yes, he is. I'm looking for more questions here. Oh, we got one here. I'm not going to get a chance to ask you my questions. Where did it? Give me one sec.
Fish Tropic says, I have to visit Brian after lockdown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fishy
yeah,
fun.
He's not that far.
I joke with him all the time. I tell him all the time, I'm like, hey, come over the bridge on my side, and I'll be sitting there, and we'll load you up, and you can just drive back over and go home.
All right. So is it good to put bacteria with your shrimp? I'm just learning. Hey, we're all just learning.
Every day.
Yeah, so I guess it depends what kind of bacteria we're talking about. You don't want like crappy bacteria, but if you're talking about beneficial bacteria, then yes, the more the merrier. Yeah, shrimp are very susceptible to ammonia. Ammonia kills shrimp, so the more active bacteria you have, the better they'll do. Here's one for do neos have certain times of the year when the shrimp breed? So is there certain times a year you find neos breed?
Not particular. It's excuse me. If you have happy tanks, they breed, they just go and go and go. Some are more than others, but if I have a tank with let's just say 50 shrimp in it, and 20 of them are females, and out of those 20, at least 8 to 10 are consistently pregnant, then
I was gonna say, like, they're controlled environments, right? So I don't think the shrimp really know what time of year it is in my fish room anyways. I keep it pretty controlled. So yeah, I don't think time of year has a whole lot to do with it in a controlled environment. I think it's just whether your shrimp are happy or not.
Yeah, see here, I have heat that runs down here, and it's got to be, I don't know, 70. I have 2 dehumidifiers, and once in a while I'll run a fan, because heat rises, so the cool air sits there. So I just blow it around, and then it gets even hotter. But the thing is, the shrimp, I don't have not one heater in any tank. I don't run heat. I don't do anything. So they're not going to suffer. They're not going to die. They'll actually probably have a more prolonged life, getting to that 2 years instead of the year and a half, because I have heat. So like you're saying, in a controlled environment, yeah, you're kind of like a 24/7. They think they're in Florida or something,
Yeah.
somewhere hot. But here, they're like, oh yeah, it's chilly out. We got to get back inside, So I do notice when the seasons change, some will like wake up,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's for my shrimp. I found it's more when I take better care of them.
Yeah.
They produce better when I'm so with me. My work changes with the seasons. I'm busier or less busy depending on the season. So if I'm super ass busy in the summertime, they don't breed a lot because I don't look after them a lot.
Right.
But in the winter time, when I'm looking after them quite a bit, they do much better.
But and understand this too. When the seasons change, the air changes. So they know when the air changes, it gets heavier, it gets lighter, it's damp, it's this and that. They sense all that, even though they're in water. That's what lets them know too. When the temperature changes, things get heavier, they get light. And so that's what kind of kicks it in too. And but like I said, being in a room that's heated all the time, they're just always thinking it's a good time.
Yeah, man, we have it's a brand new house. There's an air exchanger, climate control, like the temperature stays the same
Oh,
all,
right, yeah.
all the time. So and that's I guess important to note too. If you have really badly fluctuating temperatures in your fish room, you probably should use a heater dialed down a bit.
Yeah, and a fan.
Yeah, if you're running smaller tanks.
Yeah. Yep. The fan really, really, it'll change at 3 to 5 degrees if you have a fan just circulate and run it because it'll get that warm air down. I mean, I don't know how many people I know that literally have just little, like a 12-inch fan screwed to their ceiling and they aim it at the ground and it just circulates the room and they don't run any extra heat in there, but normal heat to keep it like, let's say 75, and they circulate it. And the tanks on the bottom are only a degree different than the tank on the top. So, I mean, it's proven it works. So, it's just how much energy you want to spend all year long. So,
what product is best to measure the GHKH, pH, and TDS? I don't have any measurement pens yet, just pH test strips. Thank you for your answers. Subscribed. Well, thank you for subscribing, and probably to you as well. I'll let you go. There's lots of options here. Give her.
All right. I'll give you guys, well, you probably know this. All right. If you use the test strips aren't horrible, but they'll give you the test strips will give you a ballpark. It'll give you a roundabout.
I'll be back in 1 second to answer my part of this question.
Yeah. Okay. But let's say this spoon is your test strip. The thickness up here, the width of it. Well, don't waste your test strip and just stick it in and use it one time. They're real expensive. So what you do is you take a razor blade and you put it on a table and you slice it down the center and you cut it in two. So now, let's say you spent $15 on 15 strips or 20 strips. Now you have 40 strips or 30 strips for the same price. You don't need a big, huge pad to tell you what your water looks like. Now, pads aren't bad, but if you want, like this is my little hookup. This is what I use down here in my little store. But I had this 3D case made. And what it is, I always keep the paper, even though I know the colors, I keep it no matter what, so I don't question myself. But, I have the pH, I have the nitrite, the nitrates, the ammonia, the GH and KH. And then I have my glass tubes. I keep a little vial, and then my TDS pen. Liquid's the best way to go. It's think of it like you're testing the water in your pool. It's almost the exact same thing as testing the water in the pool. A test strip will tell you that there's stuff in there, but it won't give you as exact as the liquid does. Now, test pens, if you buy a test pen, don't just waste your money on some junk. Always check the back. Underneath that little rubber piece, there's a screw. And what that is it sets the electricity on this. Because what you do is you get this TDS, this ppm, so it's set at 342. I stick this TDS in there, and this has to be at a certain temperature. So you warm it up in your hand, stick it in there, set this pen. Now this pen's always set. But you can use the strips. If you're going to do neocaridina, use the strips for now until you can buy a freshwater test kit. Because they're like, well, here they're like, I think they're around $30. So, and you don't need everything in that test kit. You know, you don't need to test high pH and all that. That's, you know, for like bigger tanks and stuff. But the liquid's the way to go. And your test pen, if you can borrow one, just to get an idea of what your water is at, and then you go from there. Because if it's coming out of your tap, fine, good. Then just leave it and run it. But if it's not coming out of your tap, fine. And the numbers are skyrocketed or they're way too low, you need to know that, because you put the shrimp in there and they could die immediately within days, and you're going to be like, oh my God, what did I do wrong? This tank's been sitting here for 4 months, and it's not you, but it's the water that you're putting inside because you didn't have something to actually tell you where your minerals are in the tank. And, you know, but
someone brought that up here, saying that, TDS pens don't identify what dissolved salts are in the water. That's absolutely correct.
Yeah, they don't tell you nothing. They just tell you there's a percentage of conductivity in the water of minerals, but there could be 75 things in there that you don't know what they are. But the main scary parts are taking the chlorines and the chloramines, all that crap that the state and the city puts in your water to get it to where it's drinkable. You want to take that out because we can handle it. But I mean, those things ain't but a half-inch long and even smaller than that. So if they start taking in chemicals, it can kill them. Yeah. So, you know, that's
why I go RO and remineralize even for my Neos.
Right.
But if you're I'll try and get this in, for your pH, this is the bad boy you probably want if you're getting serious about pH. It's a pinpoint. This thing, when you calibrate it, that's also important, as you were explaining.
Right.
Calibration, this has so many great calibration options on it. Real easy to use. You get the liquid, like you were saying. There's liquid for below 7 pH and a liquid for above 7 pH. And it works really good, but this is going to cost you a couple $100.
But the good thing with that is you could set that. You could put it in your meter, your liquid. You could set it, you know, whatever it says on the bottle, and then you can go through your whole entire room and dip it in a tank, dip it in a tank, dip it in a tank, and you can see that.
And with this one, you can leave it in your tank and leave it on. It'll last for 3 weeks on that battery if you leave it on 24/7.
Oh, nice.
So, like, say for instance, I'm trying to breed some blue phantoms, hemiancestris plecos. Well, I'm trying to drop their pH below 5. So,
put a lot of leaves in there.
Right? I got bags of oak leaves I collected last fall.
Yeah.
So, and peat moss. I'm going to run peat moss right in the filter.
Yeah, just don't do the alder cones. Just do the leaves.
I actually do some alder cones. I don't try to alter pH with alder cones.
Right, that's what I mean. Yeah, because they crumble and, you know.
But I do put some in for the beneficial properties they have. They have really good antibacterial properties.
Yeah. So yeah.
But so with this pH monitor, if you're trying to adjust pH or keep something stable, or you want to see if it's moving, you can leave it in, like I said, 24/7, and you can monitor your pH within a 100th. So, yeah, that's what I would use for that. And for ammonia, I know you didn't ask about that, but it's really important. So ammonia, I just use ammonia test strips. They're pretty accurate to tell me if I have ammonia or I don't. All right. Well, we got some good answers here, Brian. I think we're doing all right. I'm just seeing if everybody has any. Alder cones can stain your tank with just a few. Yeah, they can. They can. I like a little bit of a black water look to my tanks, even though you can see behind me they're crystal clear. And they all have alder cones in them.
Yeah, a lot of mine, just the wood I put in there, because I don't boil it. So, and a lot of times I'll just be too lazy to, and I'm just like, all right, stick it in and come down 3 days later, and then you can't even see the back of the tank. And it'll last for, 5 months. You know, you do your water change, put new stuff in, and bam, immediately it's black watered again, you know, and it's like, well, but that's the thing is when that happens in a tank, I notice that the shrimp just go nuts. I mean, everything about them is changed, you know, and they really enjoy it, you know. I just don't enjoy looking at it, you know.
No, I like my crystal clear tanks.
Yes, yeah. But you know, it's not about us, and that's the whole thing. Sometimes we have to put aside is when it comes to feeding, and you know, just like lights. You know, it was always said, you know, you don't, you know, fish and shrimp don't need lights. We need the lights. Fish don't. They don't have a light. They have an outside light. So if they're not in your living room and the window's open and the sun comes up and the sun goes down, they don't get no more than that in a little stream or a river. You're the one that's putting the light over the tank, blasting it all day long. You know, so that's the thing is, I mean, you don't need lights. You don't need a lot of things, you know, but it's us. You know, it's what we want.
I'm not gonna keep them if I can't get some enjoyment out of them.
No, totally understandable. But what
so
I'm
you have to have
saying
a balance, is what you're saying.
If it gets black water, it doesn't hurt anything because that's a natural thing. That's all I'm saying. If it does happen, they're good with it.
Where do you get your Indian almond leaves, Brian? Fish Tropic, is that Germany?
Yes, sir.
I don't get them. I use oak leaves. I'm cheap.
Yeah, I was just talking to who was it? Somebody in one of my streams that I was doing was saying, was it gosh, dog, I can't think of who it was, but they said to go. They said you got oak leaves over there, and I said, well, the guy 2 doors down from me has got 15 of them in his backyard. So they're like, get them, because I do the mulberry leaves.
Yeah.
You ever use those? Because I haven't.
No, I haven't.
Oh yeah, it's incredible. I have it grown in my yard, and the mulberry leaves, I make food out of it. I actually sell it. But what I do is I take the leaf, and me and my son go outside and I lay blankets out. We'll get like 4 or 5 5-gallon buckets a day and lay them out, let the sun dry them in like 2 hours. And then I break them up and I put them in a grinder. Then I take them out of that grinder and I put them in a coffee grinder. And I put it on mocha. I mean, I know it sounds funny, but then when it's done, it makes a powder like this.
Ah, very good.
And so then I just go around and I just, sprinkle it. And I got people that are after me right now because they want me to give it to them so they can slap a sticker on it and I can sell, they can start selling it and stuff. But like I buy like this, I just went today and bought more at the health food store.
Yep.
And it's all powder, so I did, leaf stuff. It's like, if I can't get it or I'm out, then I'll have to go to the health food store, but.
Do you just put in straight powdered spirulina as well? I do that quite a bit.
Yeah. And I have it mixed in. I spent a lot of money on my shrimp food. I don't know. I'm sure you do too, but like the bio greens.
Yeah, no, I haven't used that. I do make my own food a lot, though.
Yeah.
I do a little bit different. I do have a video out there on it. I've changed the way I've made food over the years, and now I dry it out. I dry it right out.
Yeah.
But I use duckweed, spirulina,
Right.
zucchini, frick, you name it. If it's in the fridge and it's a vegetable, I
Right.
throw it in. I clean out all the duckweed with all the snails in the duckweed and everything. I throw that in, grind it, blend it all up.
Yeah.
I smear it all out, bake it in the oven until it dries up, and then you got a nice, dry, crispy food that sinks.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it works. They love it, and it's
Yeah.
like you
I
put
use
it.
one of those like a jerky dryer.
Oh,
You know, you
okay,
put
a
like meat. They're
dehydrator.
cheap. They're only like $25, $30, but I do it outside, and I
Yeah,
do like you said. I cut the strips, lay it all in there, do about 5 stacks of it, let it cook for a few hours, go out there. It's rock hard, and
yeah,
we sell that too. So yeah,
yeah. It works great, and it keeps well. Like I can just
yeah,
it doesn't go bad after that.
right. You just got to have a good binder. No crap. You know,
Yeah,
I know people that use flour, and I ask myself all the time, what shrimp eats flour?
yeah,
Where in a little stream in Taiwan is there flour?
yeah.
So it's not going to be something that they're going to run to. You
Probably
know,
a bit of rice floating down the stream. Probably a
right,
bit,
right,
but not
right, right,
flour.
right.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. You know, you want to keep, like you said, you want to keep it all natural. So if you grind up leaves, I mean, that's like the best thing. The only thing that I put in there raw is French cut green beans, the French style cut where they're all sliced up. I just put about the size of a piece of rice if there's like 50 shrimp in there. Holy heck, they just piles of shrimp eating that green beans. They love green beans.
yeah. Zucchini, because I breed a lot of ancestrous plecos. I have about 1,000 of them here.
I breed bristlenose.
Yeah, that's they're actually called ancestrous.
Right, 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 right.
Uh,
I'm saying you do the blues. You know, you do different types. So I just do. I have 333s too, but they're just getting there now. But my bristlenose, they don't stop. So
oh,
they're just one after
no,
another.
I've gotten actually I just did a video on rearing bristlenose, but you can't really see the tank behind me. If I moved my screen, you could. So that tank right over there, that one up there,
Yeah,
that's got some. You can see one on the front glass right
I
now.
see them.
Actually,
Yeah. Is
yeah,
that
that's
a fancy fin, long fin?
yeah. So that's one that I've bred. I've been line breeding this group of ancestors for many years now, actually. And I actually have them coming out with a blue tint to them now. So I'm actually trying to create a blue ancestress, a blue bristlenose.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So we'll see. These guys come out with a blue tint when they were really young. It was very prominent. But as they've gotten bigger, and they're about 2 inches now, 2.5 inches. As they've gotten bigger, it's gotten much, much more fainter. But you can still see it, but it's just very, very faint. So I'm hoping if I line breed them together, some good selections,
Yeah.
maybe the next ones will have even more. Who knows, right? It's a
Right.
crapshoot, but you don't know
Right.
if you don't try.
Right.
So
See, I breed them because it's you know, like the stores they get crap. You know, they just don't have really good stock. You know, and like I'm a shrimp guy, but you know, I when I'm at the stores, people go in there all the time. Hey, you got plecos, you got plecos, you got plecos, and they're just crap that's being mailed in from wherever. You know, and they're none of it's you know got it. None of it's
oh.
got good genes. You know, it's all just whatever.
Well, people are very fortunate around here because they get my plecos in the stores around here.
Yeah,
So
well, that's what I do.
yeah,
I usually sell the batches. You know, my buddy's store, he's got some 180s. They're kind of in front and he puts his like discus in them and his arowanas and stuff. You know, uh, and so I just go there and literally like dump 200 in at a time, and then they just go in all that mulm and eat all that mulm, and then as they get a little bigger, he just starts to sell them right out of the tank. You know.
okay.
So they get all that really high quality, you know, plecos from me, and it gives you the two colors, the brown and the albinos. So
Yeah, I got a bit of selection for ancestors. So I got browns, albinos, green dragons, and both I have albinos and browns both in long fin and short fin, and the green dragons only in short fin right now. But I literally raise them out in big tanks up to 1.5 inches, 2 inches, and then I sell them to the local fish stores around here, and they grab them as fast as I
Oh
do.
yeah, you don't do the super reds?
I don't. I just haven't. I just haven't gotten any, honestly.
They're expensive over here. The fancy fin Germans, they're over 300 for an adult.
Oh, really? If
Yeah,
I gotta pay $300 for something, it's gonna be a couple of zebra placos, is what it's gonna be.
yeah. My buddy sells
Right.
those. He's an older retired guy.
Yeah.
And he buys the adults, and they're $100 an inch. And I'm like, why you buy all them? He's like, because I don't like to wait. I need it right now, right now. So he buys the adults, but now he has so many, they just breed and breed and breed. And
well, that's good.
Money.
That's good for him. I might have to get his phone number off of you.
Yeah.
Because they're hard to find up here. With any kind of quality, they're hard to find. And like you said, they're about $100 an inch.
Yeah, they're expensive. Yeah, but he does really good. And you go to his house, and like his basement's just like blacked out. They're all in like let's say like 100-gallon low boys or 110 low boys, and he just keeps it pitch black in there, and then he'll go down and like it's like real old, like he screws in light bulbs that are real dim, so he doesn't freak them out and everything, and then he brings.
That's probably the way to do it. They're finicky.
The guy's real. He's really smart on his stuff,
Because I've been researching them a lot and talking to a few people that do actually have them and whatnot, and yeah, they tell me most of the time when you set your zebra placos up, you leave them, you don't touch them, you just do your water changes, your maintenance, and you don't touch them. If you move them, you're going to wait another 6 months to a year before they even think about breeding.
Right.
So yeah, these are some things to think about before you start trying to get. How patient am I? How patient?
Right. Well, same thing with shrimp.
Is my life stable enough? I don't need to move this tank for a couple of years. That should be the number one question right there. Because
am I going to have to clean behind it? I'll just use an air hose and blow around it. I'm not touching it.
Yeah, because that's a big investment.
But it's a big payout once they start going. If you can leave them alone,
Really, you're looking at least $1,200-$1,600 to get a colony going.
Oh yeah. It's kind of like having a Corvette. You cover it up and don't drive it, because you just ruin it. Just leave it alone.
Looks like Fish Tropics gonna hook me up with some super reds. I hope that's super reds you're talking about.
Yeah, Fish Tropics, a good dude, man. I watch his videos. That's how I got to know him. I watched his videos. I liked his stuff. He's informative. And then he'd just come over to my stuff, and he was always a guy. He's a guy that even if no one's around, he says positive stuff. He's always trying to, he's always trying to pick you up, make you laugh, say something silly. Because I was like, where have you been? I haven't seen a video from you. Are you okay? And he was sick and, stuff like that. So,
and I did send you a message, Fish Tropic, a messenger message. I hope you are feeling better, bud. You didn't reply. So, I was a little worried. So I'm glad to see you on here. But there is a question here that I would like to, I don't know the answer to this one at all. I don't know, but that's a good idea. What do you think about using dried dandelion leaves for shrimp food, I'm assuming? What do you think of that?
Yeah, as far as I know, you can use it all.
Yeah, the flower, everything?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't use the stem, but, the leaves, yeah. As far as I know, there's almost, you can use the yellow part on top. Because there's somebody else that uses dandelion a lot, and they say you can dang near use the whole thing. So
who's that? Somebody else? We don't keep secrets on here.
Oh, Mark Shrimp Tanks.
Mark's, yeah,
my guy. That's my guy. Hey, he don't know it, but I mean, I'm on his stuff and he's on mine. But the guy, I only watched a couple guys, but he's, I was watching him waiting for you to, when you say, "Hey, you ready?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll pause that." Yeah. So,
He seems to know his shit, eh?
well, he's
He's in Netherlands, isn't he?
he's in,
Holland.
he's in the UK there. Yeah.
I
I
think
think it's Holland. Yeah.
Holland.
Because his partner's in Pier Shrimp. Dennis, he's in God. I'm drawing a blank. It's right there, but I'm drawing a blank. It starts with a D. D. Anyways, they argue all the time about where the true Vikings come from and stuff. But it's Mark's. He's got a good. You could sit and listen to the guy like me and you were just sitting here talking, but then when he goes back to the shrimp stuff, you're like, all right, wait, what's he saying? What's he saying? Because things that he says, a lot of stuff that he says, if you could pick stuff up in between the lines that he's saying, because he might not give everything out, but if you pay attention, you can learn a lot from the guy. He's got a head on his shoulders,
Yeah. No, I like watching his stuff.
Yeah.
And for Fish Tropic, if you have long fins, that's what I'd be going for. I'm not really keeping too many short fins anymore. I'm mostly
Dennis is Denmark. There we go. Thank you, Fishy Fun. Yeah. Norway. Dennis is Denmark. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, and there, Chris Lukop. Do you mess around with Chris Shrimp King?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't watched his. No.
Yeah, he just did like 3 more. Yeah, that guy's incredible. You wanna really. And here's the thing: is like he might not be like the top breeder, but he'll take you to the top breeder.
Yeah.
Right into his home, and he just did 3 the other day. My phone was going off at like 5 a.m. and I jumped on there and he's like, "Brian, what are you doing up so early?" And I'm like, "What? Well, it's the time's different in Germany." So I'm like, "What do you mean you're going live?" I'm not missing it. I got my thing set. If my phone goes off, I'm going on there, because it's like you can watch the rerun, but you can ask him questions to ask this guy while he's there, and he'll ask him all the questions. And these guys are like big time. You see the shrimp that they have, and their shrimp that would cost so much money over here, they treat them like they're cherry shrimp, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we just put all these together just to see what we get, in a couple of years." And the tanks are like Mark 2018, and we're like, "Oh my gosh, you're just breeding this stuff for 2 years?" Yeah, because I want to see what it throws. I'm like, "Oh my gosh," yeah. I mean, they're a whole nother level,
Oh, 1 sec. Yeah, I like the calicos as well. They're
I got a set of them.
Neat. Yeah, definitely. We'll talk after Fish Tropic. Okay, I want to ask you a question. I wrote some questions down. I got a couple questions to ask, actually. What do you think about shrimp grading? What do you think about like the standards for shrimp grading? You know where I'm going with this?
As in
what everybody considers a well, not mixing them, but how accurate do you think, and how standard is the grading across the board? We'll say it's mainly Caradina shrimp, but
yeah, in my opinion, it benefits the upper class. It's because we really don't name them. We're not the ones that breed them and say, "Hey, here's another one," but let's say like the PRLs, you had the Crystal Reds and then you have the PRLs, and there's a price difference there, right?
Okay, let's talk about the Crystal Reds.
Yeah.
Okay, I keep Crystal Reds, and I keep a certain grading of Crystal Reds because I find them most pleasant to the eye. Now that what my shrimp mainly grade out at for my crystal reds is double S, no entry. If you wanted to get all technical on the grading, they don't have a Missouri entry on the saddle or nothing. It's just no entry, double S. But they have what I find for my eye, just enough red, just enough white, just enough blotchy pattern on them that I like it. But then you get into a triple S Missouri, we'll say, which is now add $10 onto that shrimp.
Right.
And I think they look like shit. I think they look too white. Why not just have a white pinto if that's what you're gonna do, right? Like, or you get the opposite where people have the super red, whatever the hell they call
the
crystal reds.
Yeah, the
crystal reds or whatever they call.
Yeah, the extreme crystal reds. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know. So I guess that's what I was asking. Is it more for? I guess it's for each individual. So there is a price point. Obviously, you're not going to sell crystal reds, Misuras, triple S for the same as you're going to sell double S. But I actually prefer the look of double S more. Now with the tigers, how many different color strains are you starting to get out with them? And how do they grade? I have no idea.
Orange eye blue tigers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of colors. So like I only sell them in two different ways. I sell a mixed pack, or I sell them mixed, or I sell them blue. I sell them solid blue. So you're looking at close to $15 a piece for solid blue, and it's like $9, $10 for the mix. So you get blondes, you get the oranges, you get light blues, you get dark blues, you get every color they spit out. But the bad thing is they don't breed true. So let's say out of 30 shrimp, you might get 6 that are blue and the rest are blondes and everything else. But in all reality, if you cull the tank, you're going to have more culls that you're pulling out of there than you will ones that are staying in the tank. So that's why I really don't. I see what you're saying. I really don't like separate. So what? Even though I know that if I pull the blondes and stuff out of there and just have the blues breed together, that chances of getting all blues or bringing my percentage rate up is better. And that's fine and dandy. And I do that at times. I'll take them to the pet store or something. But like my PRLs, I have PRL double S Misuras in there, really high grade hand picked Misuras.
What are PRLs?
Pure red lines. They're not like crystal reds are bred to make a crystal red. Yep. Well, nothing was bred to make a pure red line. They're just pure. So they look like a crystal red, but the lines are different. Like on the back, they have the no entry, they have the cert, they have all these different designs. And like you're saying, you like a certain look. Well, you can get them all to have that. It'll be a circle with a line through it. It'll be the two lines, and it all has a name to it. And if you can Google it, it'll literally show everything. So like you're saying, I look at it this way, like I have a tank of red spotted head pintos that I just have a tank of those. But over here in my mixed red pinto tank, they're in there also, but that's the mixed tank. So I don't go, well, if you want these, you got to pay a lot of money for them here. You can buy them out of the mixed tank, but you might get one, you might get none because it's a mix. I just scoop whatever you get. So I try to help people out by doing it that way so they can get that higher grade and not have to pay for it because they're getting, I'm forcing them to get 5 or 10 of the higher grades. I'm allowing them to possibly get 4 or 5 out of what I scoop out because I'm just scooping away. So when it comes to the grading like that, I really don't like my the Black King Kongs. They'll have one line. They can have 2 lines,
3 lines.
I have Black King Kongs. They can have a whiter back,
or they can have no lines. And that's
right. Well, that's the extremes. That tank right there is my extreme Black King Kongs. But now, they grow the King Kongs.
That's what I was going to say. So I have the same thing. I have one tank with extremes, and I have another one with 3 bars.
Right.
They don't extremes. This is what a lot of people should understand before they go and start spending 25, $30 a piece on extremes. I actually bred my extremes. I didn't buy them. I bred my extremes from
I bought mine.
from 3-bar King Kongs.
Right.
Now, that being said, my extremes don't necessarily throw extremes.
Right.
I might get 1 or 2 out of it. I might get 1 or 2 out of my 3-bar.
Lost you.
There we go. We're
There
back.
you are. There you are.
I knocked. I have to keep my microphone here up on a book up tall enough, and I actually knocked it over there. But I guess what I'm saying is, don't necessarily go and buy that $25 to $30 Black King Kong Extreme. You might end up getting a few out of some 3 bars. Is what I'm saying.
Well,
you might get some red ones.
They
you
all
don't know.
they carry that gene. So me, I wanted a tank of just the extreme, so I bought them, not really knowing that they would throw every single one is a King Kong. So there's ones in there now that are, half the size of a piece of rice. It's just, and I just pulled 70 out with me and my son. This tank's packed with juvies, and that thing's packed with, they're so small, they're probably a week old. And then I got like 2 more pregnant females in there. So I'm like, okay, it's going to change. But the thing is I just have to make sure I just keep taking them out. So, hopefully it changes, but I don't separate my Black King Kongs. Same reason. If somebody wants a certain one, look, you just breed them and they'll breed you stuff. But I always say, if you want me to pick your shrimp, it's going to cost you more.
Yeah.
That's just how it is, but if you say, hey, Brian, could you make sure I get at least 1 female in there? I'll guarantee that you have a female in the pack that I send you. That's all I'll guarantee. The other 9 or the other 4 could be all females too. I don't know, but I will guarantee one of them will be a female. But, sometimes I get too busy. I can't look, I got kids. I have a life. My whole thing is what you pay for, that you pay your hard-earned money. You send it to me on PayPal, and my PayPal gets all happy. That stuff needs to get to your house and make you just as happy as your money that just came to my PayPal. So if I got to take a couple minutes out, but I just can't for every order and everything, So, my tanks would be all males. All the females would be gone. So, I can't do it, but I try to help.
So I just started up like a mixed Caradina tank. But I'm going to see what happens. It's a see what happens tank.
I want to do it bad. I want to get a 95 cube. Or I want to get a low boy frag tank, like a 3x3 because I have over here, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but in my videos, I have a tank from before the 70s, before 1970. It's chrome and it's got a slate bottom. So it's glass, chrome, and slate. So at 70, they made the bottom glass. So that's my tank that actually, when I'm all said and done here, when all the flooring's in and everything, that's going to be the first tank that you see because it's a classic. But I want to get like a cube, and I want to have like a tree come up the center. So all those, they can all in the center of this thing. You can walk all the way around it. Even if it was a cylinder tank, walk all the way around it, see the shrimp all up and down there. I think it would look really cool. But a mixed Caradina tank.
Yeah, that'd be neat. Yeah. Mine's just a 21-gallon cube. But what I did is actually I did a live stream, and I had viewers watching the live stream help me make the tank, help me aquascape it. I brought out all the plants, everything, what we have for choices. I had the tank cycled already, ready to go. And we did that and put in crystal reds, Black King Kongs, red King Kongs, blue bolts, pintos, white pintos. Like I just threw like everything in there.
Yeah, that's
And
cool. I've never seen nobody do that. That's a good idea. Because it's
I
like
just gotta,
everybody's like, do a set up a tank on your thing. I'm like, why? There's 90 of them. What? Okay, here's some rocks. Here's a plant. Here's a filter. Fill it with water. There's your tank. How is that interesting? How can I make that any funner than the 19 people that just did it before me? I can't unless you just want to see me do it. But to have you do it and have all this stuff there, everybody's like, hey, put this plant here.
yeah,
Put these stripping. That sounds pretty cool because they can say,
it
well,
was
no,
cool.
put 3 crystal reds. Don't just put 1. I want it with more red. Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, I think there's about I think there's 4 or 5 crystal red. And now I could just go out at any shrimp that are kind of like in my blue bolt tank. It throws a lot of white pintos. I don't know why they do, but they do. So I take them out, put them in that tank. I had a red bolt come out of them. Like what? I've never, out of my blue bolt tank, they freaking threw a red bolt, so they don't breed true, that's for sure. But I have a lot of blue bolt Mazuras in there and whatnot too. Like it's a nice little blue bolt tank.
I have the solid blue body Black King Kong Mazuras. Where the whole body's black and it's got that black crown, or it's all dark blue, it's got that black crown on it. I got actually one in here that when he gets, it's the only one that's a male. I'm going to put him up there in my Shadow Panda tank so he can go to town up there and hopefully start banging out a bunch of them blue boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that stuff because I kind of look at it like, like Van Gogh painted this animal and he has a paint job that no one else can ever get. You know, that's what intrigues me about these little shrimp is the colors that they can possess, you know.
Give me 1 second, Brian. Yeah, thanks for stopping by and moderating, Jason. I appreciate it. And I see the Zen Gingers here. That's another person who moderates for me all the time and does a great job. So I just wanted to recognize that. And Fusion Fox, he's doing a great job moderating for us as well. If anybody does got a drop, go ahead. I know we're over the time we normally take, but that's okay. We're just chatting away. I guess I don't know about you, Brian, but me, I like to. I don't know if this is the correct terminology for if people get pissed off at me for saying this or not, but like playing God. Like I love playing God with fish. I like making fish the way I want them to look.
Right.
And shrimp and plecos seem to be right up my alley for that. I can kind of tweak them. Guppies, I like working with guppies too. I have some black metallics that I just started working with. And then I have some black Moscow crosses that I've done for quite a while now. They're pretty nice looking guppies too. But I like playing God. I like making things out of something that's not really the exploiting genes. I like playing that game. And I think with like doing like like with shrimp, especially Caradinas, I find because I find with Neos, if you try messing with them too much, they go back to wild color. That seems to be their thing. They go back to wild. It's really hard. A lot harder, I find, to get Neos to mess with their genetics, I guess. Yep. Yeah, their colors, their coloration. Whereas Caradinas, you can really mess around with them, man. I think within the next couple of years, you're going to see twice as many names of shrimp out there as there is now. Everybody in their basement playing God, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. With the videos that I see, they're doing stuff with what I say are expensive shrimp, and they're acting like they're just, a couple dollars, and they're like, oh yeah, we just throw them in there and leave it. I'm like, oh my gosh, and it's like, I have a lot of tanks, but I don't have anything. I mean, my most expensive shrimp are right there, and they're the Dragon Blood Blues. So it's and I have red fish bones, I have, fancy red tigers, I have expensive fish, but those are the most expensive. But you're talking some of these ones that they goof around with, they're $80, $100 a piece, and they got tank loads of them, and they're just like, oh yeah, we're just mixing them. It's like, God, I would just like a tank of it. But that's what I'm saying. What I try to tell everybody all the time is, if you don't get in now, it's going to pass you by, because they're so advanced where the shrimp come from, the way that they breed, the way that they raise them in the waters, what they're trying this, they're trying that, what they're doing with the genes and all that stuff. We're over here, we're like 20 years behind them, and we're like, oh, wow, look at this. I got all these shrimp. I'm starting to visit. Man, they're way past that. They're
We're
so
we're
far past.
we're just kids playing with our fish.
Yeah, they got bionic arms on their shrimp now. And, I'm serious, but that's how advanced they are, and it's like, okay, it's like Easter, and you're dipping eggs into that color, and it comes out. You don't know what it's look like. That's how they do their shrimp. They just switch it around, and voila,
Yeah, and over here, most people struggle just to keep them alive.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's how far behind them that we are. People don't look at it like that. That's what I'm saying, is by time we're on a level where they're at right now, another 10 years down the road, when we're really getting it to a point to where, we're starting to really understand it, then if you're not it, I mean, shrimp are going to cost so much. In my opinion, all the Neo-Caridinian stuff, the cheaper, I don't even think cherries will even be around anymore. Except if people keep them in their home. But no, I don't think anybody's going to sell them or anything, because the shrimp that costs $100 today, in 10 years, they're going to cost $5.
Yeah, I think cherries would be around. That's everybody's first shrimp. You can't take that away from people.
Well, yeah, but
you still have them, don't you?
Oh yeah, but yeah. It's my own shrimp.
Yeah, I do too. Right, and like everybody still has them. I think they'll stay right. We can't take that away from people. That has to be like your blessing into shrimp keeping is cherries.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why you go for a red one over a blue one or a yellow one, orange one, whatever. There's so many colors in Neos now. But yeah, I think they're always going to be around. I don't think we'll ever catch up to them. I don't think, if it's just my opinion, but like I remember Jason from Redfish, Bluefish, when we did a stream together, we were talking and we're like, it's just like Canadian boys and American boys. We just bowed down to the Asians of aquascaping. Right? Like we don't even attempt to beat them. We can't. It's just they got this shit. They got it, and they got it good. It's their passion. It's their life. They have patience like we don't even know what patience is. And I think the same with the shrimp. Just don't even try to keep up with them for shrimp. Let's just take the fruits of their bounty. Let's let them create it, and then we can play with it like the kids we are over here with shrimp. But it's fun, and it's a fun hobby for us. And I think if I ever got that serious into shrimp, where I'm like they're really serious. They won't even crack a smile looking at the shrimp, right?
Nope.
Like this is fucking business,
just like
right?
Grunt, point,
business, and they know their stuff, and they're so good at it.
Yeah.
But I never want to be that good at it because I can't devote that much.
I think that's where you learn to lose the fun. It become a job more than a hobby anymore.
So I'd rather let them keep doing the job of making awesome looking shrimp like they're doing, and I'd rather just keep buying them off of them. I don't think they'll get expensive. Yeah, I don't think they'll get it super expensive.
Yeah, the ones I know now, they go up to $1,500. The ones that I see now.
But we're talking some extraordinary circumstances there.
Right? Yeah. I've had guys call me and they're like, "Hey, you want to buy some shrimp?" And I'm like, "I don't know. What do you got?" And they'll send me their list, and I look at them, and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know about this." And they're like, "Why?" I'm like, "If I want to buy 10 shrimp off of you, I have to spend $1,000. So then I have to breed these shrimp and make sure none die. And then however long it takes me to breed them, I have to pay for all that electricity, food, the tank, the substrate, all that. And when they finally breed, I got to get my money back.
You got to
I
find someone willing to
around.
spend that money on them.
Right. And what I try to tell everybody is, look, we're almost all the same, almost, unless you're rich. We got mortgages, we have children, we have families, we have cars, we have bills. I can't live with myself if I'm going around trying to knock on your door and be like, hey, you buy shrimp off me, but guess what? I have new ones that cost $100. Yeah, you guys are going to have to eat macaroni and cheese and oodle noodles the rest of the week, but would you like to get some of these? You know, I think the funness goes away. You're going to get a couple that'll be, oh, yeah, you know, but, you know, I'm not rich, but, you know, everyone
if you're buying $100 shrimp just for the sake of buying $100 shrimp, then you got bigger problems.
Yeah, it's like them little guys that drive those big, huge trucks with those big, huge tires. You know, they're just trying to make up for something.
You're overcompensating.
I drive a real low car. I drive a wagon, so
I drive a fucking Dodge Sprinter van.
There you go. I drive a Dodge Magnum, so.
What did I cross my Moscows with? I crossed them with some Taiwans is what I did. Some Taiwans that had some pink and reds in them. And that's why I did it, because I wanted to come up with something that had like a black body with some pink reds and purples in it. And that's what I got for the most part. They don't run 100% true, but they do come out fairly true. I think Brian just left. I don't know where he went.
I'm here. I don't go nowhere. I just had to go look at a tank.
Well, Brian, I'm just about done for this stream. We've gone an hour and a half.
Oh, you guys run you run short streams.
I do. I don't do.
Sometimes I go 5 hours.
Oh, are you referring to the common red cherry? Yes. I'm referring to the common red cherries. But yeah, there is wild types out there being sold too. I call them culls. They the wild types usually go live with Petey the turtle.
Oh, out of yours, yeah. I have wild shrimp that are very colorful. They look like little candies. They're wild, but they're ketogolons. And they're on the endangered species list, and they're on the red list. They're not supposed to be hunted or caught and sold, because they're on that list. And I bought these probably 2 years ago. A guy called me and said, hey, you want some shrimp? And I said, what do you got? And he's like, well, I got these wild shrimp. They're called ketogolons. He's like, but they look really good. And I was like, well, how much are they? You know, I'm just getting into this. I don't want to be dumping a bunch of stuff into this. And he gave me the price. It was real cheap. I bought them. And then probably about 4 months ago, I was watching a video, and the guy's going through all of his stuff. And he's like, oh, yeah, in this tank up here, he's like, I think it was Chris Lukop. He's like, he got me these. He wasn't sure what they were, but he found out that they're the wild ketogolons and they're an endangered species. I'm like, oh, well, okay. Well, I have a shrimp that's endangered, so let's breed the crap out of them and maybe send them back, you know?
Yeah, they were thinking of doing something like that with zebra plecos, the L46s.
Yeah,
of having like a program of where, from what I got out of it anyways, with the program was basically where they were hoping you'd give them fish back to put back into the wild, basically an honor system, right?
Yeah.
But they weren't giving you a fish to breed or anything. Yeah. It was just,
we want your stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder how honest that guy is accepting those donations, right? Or if they're just going into his tank and then he's breeding the shit out of them, selling 3/4 of them and giving them a couple of fish back. Yeah. I don't know, but I know they were talking about doing something like that. But
there was a woman here that was that had a scam going. She was on Facebook and all sorts of stuff, and she was doing like a rescue.
Okay.
We'll take you. And she was doing expensive stuff, if you got, because a lot of people get discus, they can't take care of them, then they're stuck. They can't sell them. So she'd be like, well, bring them here. We'll take them. Bring whatever you want, tanks, everything here. Then 2 minutes later, you see her, she's on there selling stuff, or her friends are selling it. And then they ended up busting her. And yeah, she hasn't been up and running for a while, but she'd be like, oh, yeah, bring all your stuff here. We'll find homes for them and everything. But she wasn't giving it away. She was charging, So, yeah, had her scam thing going on too, but it's like.
But I caught an asshole doing that here to me. I was just being nice. There's a few fish. I was just like, just give them away. Just let someone, if someone's going to give them a good home, let's give them away. I looked the next day, the guy's got them on Kijiji. So I called him. Like, I have his number. We were conversing about, I'm like, what's up, bud? Like, I didn't give these to you so you could sell them. And one was a pleco I really like. It was a really, really big pleco. And I had it in my 180-gallon tank, and it outgrew my 100. It was like 18, 19 inches long.
Wow.
Like, it was a big comment. And he says, oh, I got a 300-gallon tank. I do it. I should have went on the basis of, if you don't show me a picture of it, you don't have a 300-gallon tank. But I did, and I took his word for it. He lived in town. Yeah, the next day. So I said, like, what's up? He says, oh, it started eating my young parrotfish. I said, I don't know, but I had it in with a bunch of juvenile cichlids for like the last 2 years. Never ate one.
Right.
Like screw you. You're a dick.
Right.
And, I just won't deal with people like that. If I find out, that's it. We're done.
Yeah.
I won't deal, and then I'll smear his ass all over everywhere because it's just unethical for people to do that. Or people that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, see, with me, when I give stuff away, I only give it away to if you're a real close friend or if you're a customer. So, like, let's say like orders went out today, and one of them's a customer that continues to come back, and he's always asking me if he watches this, he'll know it's him. He's always asking me and sending his friends to me, hey, do you sell calls? So and so sent us to you. See if you sell calls. And it's like, are you trying to set me up, or did you not hear me when I said I don't sell calls? Because the thing is I give them away. If you spend money with me, and let's say you want 10 black King Kongs, and I'm scooping them out. Next thing I know, I come to one that's just ugly, and I'm like, I don't want, it's not real dark black, like a crystal black or something. I'll scoop it up and be like, I don't want that in my tank no more. I'll give you all the stuff I don't want. Now, let's say there's 2 orders that are going. Maybe the second guy ain't gonna get any, but the first guy gets an extra 5 shrimp. But that's, I just give my stuff away like that. But to give it to somebody who just be like, hey, I'll give it a home, and then turn around and try to sell it. Oh yeah, I'd have to go over and peel his silicone back a little bit.
Yeah, like I don't even give calls away.
Right.
I don't. I have so many fish around here that love eating shrimp. Right. That if I have calls that are that ugly that I don't want them, that's called free fish food, homegrown.
Right. Yeah. I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it, but
some people do.
At the pet store, he runs a cheap tank. So he will give me $1 because I tell him, I said, look, even a shrimp that has no color is worth $1. I don't care who you are, it's worth $1. It doesn't matter. So he'll buy all my shrimp I don't want, garbage shrimp, for $1 a piece. So I can take 100 up there. He'll give me $100. And I'm like, wow, do that or feed it to my. Well, I'll just go over here and buy some dried shrimp, go feed my fish with it, and I still got $90 left.
I have there's a reason I do that. And the reason is I just don't want those shrimp out there breeding. Right. I took them out of my breeding program for a reason because I thought they were shit. Right. So if I think they're shit, I don't want to give them to you and then you breed them and sell them. I'm not saying you would, but
no. I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
So say I take my blue bolt calls. they're fucking shit. No color. They look
Right.
like garbage, right?
Right.
I go and give them to you and say, "Oh, here you go, bud. Enjoy these in your tank," and
Yeah.
then you go and breed them and then try to sell them as nice blue bolts, right? Like I just don't want them on the market. If
Right.
they're that crappy that I don't want them in my tanks, they're fish food because I don't even
Yeah.
want them.
I understand what you're saying because that, I mean, it's kind of like, catching the fish story. You know, every time it's told, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And you give those shrimp away, then they breed. And then they sell or give it away, then they're breeding. And that bad gene that you had, it can now be everywhere, over time,
Yeah, it dilutes it dilutes the bloodline
Right.
essentially.
Well,
Yeah,
and in our hobby, because if it makes it back in, then the good shrimp are breeding with the crappy shrimp, and it's you know
and
watering
that
it down.
and that's why we're 20 years behind,
This is why, you know,
right?
right? But yeah, I had a lot of fun on here. It's on my channel, it's get around 10 people. I have a lot of fun because it's kind of the same people all the time. Um, and you know, I don't like to come on. I don't know. I have a thing about it. I don't like to come on. I don't want to come on my channel and talk about how I just did a tune up on my lawnmower. I don't like to talk about if I had to take my dog to the vet,
What I
if
had
my
for
back
breakfast.
hurts. Yeah, if I got a migraine or why I wasn't on here for the past 4 days. You know, I watch people, I listen a lot, and they always say, look, people that tune into your show don't want to know about your problems. They're there to be entertained. So we just talk about anything. I mean, the one day it went from shrimp all the way down to what kind of donuts and coffee we like. And it's just like, because I don't know if you guys talk about this on here, but the hobby helps with depression, anxiety, PTSD, military, all that stuff, so that's why we give big discounts to veterans and stuff like that. But, so if like people in my channel want to vent or talk about their day because they're so stressed out, well, guess what? I got all these tanks for you to stare at when I turn them and go like this, and you could sit there and tell me whatever you want all day long. And hey, people drop out, they come in, people want to talk about stuff, but it's the hobby doesn't just make us happy as the ones that are doing it. It just makes so many people happy, and that's what I'm saying. You just see the chat move so fast. Mine usually just sits there with the original amount of people, and it's good,
It,
But
it takes a bit. It's taken
yeah.
me a couple of years to get to this point, right? And in my chat as it's been going through. So there's some very prominent people in that chat that have helped my channel expand to what it is now. By no means a big channel or anything,
Right.
but I have a following, and I'm very thankful for that following. And I guess it makes me work harder to try to offer value to that following week in and week out.
Well,
And
they deserve something for following you. That's my opinion, though. It's like if you have a best friend, he's your best friend for a reason because you treat him a certain way, and you are who you are. So the people that watch you, like you say, you work harder because you want to show them that, hey, I really, respect what you guys do. So.
and I know exactly what you're saying about there's a lot of a lot of people on, I'm gonna call it fish tubers or whatever, people that have like fish live streams, but yeah, they just talk about shit.
Right.
They just yeah, not they don't even talk about fish sometimes.
Right.
And I'm just talking about a select few people I've seen, and I don't get any value out of that. I don't get any value out of it. Now, that being said, have to look at this from the other side of the coin. We're in some tough times right now. We're in some shit times right now. And when I say that, I mean mentally. People are and it's horrible. So we're Canadian, right? And it's like they're paying a lot of people just to stay home.
Right. Oh yeah.
So my grandfather went to World War II and fought in World War II to help us keep the freedoms we have. That's what he did. And the last time we had a real serious issue like we have now, all we're being asked is to sit on the couch and eat potato chips and pick lint out of our belly buttons. And most people can't even figure that shit out.
Right.
So that being said, some of them people who are following the rules, doing what everyone says we're supposed to be doing, they're staying home. Maybe they're going friggin' stir crazy. Whatever. They need to express themselves, get it out. And if they're able to do that by just coming on live and talking about whatever they want, not necessarily about fish, maybe it's helping them. So
there you go. Yeah. It's this stuff, it goes way deeper than just us breeding stuff, you know, because when you have the empathy towards, you know, for all your viewers and stuff, and you know, you don't know what's going on behind this chat over here inside their heads, you know, and some could be having a bad day. And that's what I'm saying. When we get on here and we laugh and we joke and all this stuff's rolling, it's just like, wow, I'm doing something to make you smile. And I always said, if I can make one person smile a day, then, you know, I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah. I think it's great. And again, and you've proved it to myself and the viewers once again, is that when I bring on different people, like I had a freaking veterinarian on last week. Seriously, man, my fish vet, I had my fish vet on. We got into some crazy shit, like words way too big for me. Right. I say I'm not that smart of guy. I just bring smart people on, and I know how to listen. That's about it. So like, I go from that to, you know, anybody. You're not a veterinarian, but you've offered just as much information, if not more, than he did. But just not in veterinarian terms, in terms that we all understand. And if PJ's watching, I'm not saying you did anything wrong. You're just a really smart dude, and you use big words. That's all. And you know, so but like he was able to explain more stuff on from the veterinarian point of view, and he's a hobbyist as well, so he's got that going too. But yeah, he explained some real cool questions that were different than the questions we're working with today. Today we're working with practical questions. We're doing how do you do it? How do I do it? PJ tells you, Dr. Menace, this tells you this is how it's supposed to be done. Right. And yeah, that's how it's supposed to be done. So you should listen to him. But there's many, many different ways of doing stuff. And that's why I always get someone else. Jason from Redfish Bluefish, had him on. He freaking showed us how to do stem cell tissue cultures, micro tissue culturing, right? Like crazy stuff. Right. We'd never be able to figure out all this stuff or hear from all these different people like yourself, and Paul, Mr. Bob Kaler from Kaler's Aquatics. I had him on. He's like the pufferfish king. That's what I should start calling him. Yeah. Right? He's got like 6 different kinds of pufferfish. So we pretty much talked about pufferfish. Who knows more about pufferfish than he does? Right? So Detroit Shrimp. I bring a shrimp guy on. You know more about shrimp than anybody else I've had on. Right? So it's and I like to spread around, offer some value. I want people to get some entertainment, and I also want them to gain some knowledge. Maybe after someone watches this live stream and our live stream, they've maybe got some questions answered. They maybe figured out maybe some better practices, what to do with their tanks. Maybe they figured out how to better pick certain types of fish for the size of tank they have, or the environment of tank or fish. You know what I'm saying? Different stuff. So, and that's what I wanted to offer with this type of live stream. So thank you for helping me.
The only thing that you should do after this is over is just make sure you get across to them about the feeding and how the littlest amount goes really far, because as you know, when I started, I used to go, "Oh, they're so cute! Look at them eat! Look at them eat! Look at them eat!" Next thing I know, I got 1,000 snails, and the tank's dirty, and everything's way off, and it's hard to say stop.
Yeah.
So that's what people need to learn is those shrimp can go a long time without you feeding them if you got algae, like you were saying, bacteria and algae. So just back up, set the food down, and
walk away from the food.
That's it. That's probably how we should end the show. Back
Walk
away from the food. That's it.
Yeah, and it's true. How often do you feed your shrimp?
Every other day.
Every other day.
I used to feed them, because you hear some people are like, "Oh yeah, I feed them twice a day." How many shrimp you got in the tank? 300. Well, yeah, I could put a piece of food in. If you go on my Facebook and YouTube, there's new pictures of my PRLs. I put a piece of food in there. It looked like there's 2,000 of them just going. Like I've never seen that before. So I was just like, "Oh my God, look at that! Look at that!" But it's like if you have 10 shrimp in there, like Mark says, small is a piece of rice. That's all you need. That little itty bit, because once that's gone, then they'll go eat the algae and stuff. So that's the thing is you don't want to take away their natural food. They don't want.
I'm every day
steak all day.
I pretty much feed every day. Probably miss one day a week.
Yeah, I do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, nothing. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I try to maybe once a month. I do the H2O2, in each tank, and the shrimp they love it. They swim around, and like I always say, if your shrimp eat, they're happy and healthy. If they don't eat, something's wrong. You're overfeeding, or they're sick, something's wrong in the tank. But if they eat like pigs when you feed them, you got a good tank. If not, back away from the food, step back, and give it some time.
Okay. All right, Brian.
All right.
I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate everybody watching. Thanks again for everybody who did watch or just popped in, and I don't even know you're there. Anyways, thanks again.
Yeah, everybody. Thank you. I appreciate it. I had a lot of fun.
I did too. Too, Brian. So, take care. And, hit that like button if you don't mind on your way out, guys. And happy fish keeping, everybody. Till next time. Cheers.
Stay shrimpy.